All right, I think we'll get started. So hi everyone, and welcome to today's discovery session. These sessions are meant to support students, businesses, and other organizations with an understanding of how to use data and artificial intelligence. But before we get into it, I'd like to begin by acknowledging that DeepSense works out of Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. This territory is covered by the Treaties of Peace and Friendship. We'd like to recognize the Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we're on today. We want to ask that everyone takes a moment to consider the territory in which that they're situated and their own personal responsibility in the processes of reconciliation. Hi, my name's Alyssa, and I'm the communications specialist with DeepSense. For those of you who don't know what DeepSense is, let me give you a little bit of an introduction. DeepSense is a project based out of Dalhousie University in Halifax, Nova Scotia, but we work with universities and colleges across Atlantic Canada. We work with companies in the ocean sector who are interested in harnessing the potential of data and creating a smarter ocean economy. We connect these companies with the next generation of AI and machine learning and data experts. We work with companies to create a project that best suits their needs, and then we find a researcher and a student to help execute the project as either a master's research project, a co-op, or an internship. We've had past projects in data analytics, data collection, data visualizations, data cleaning and processing, and of course, AI and machine learning. Projects could be anything from creating a deep learning model to track fish, or creating a prediction model for safe navigation in the Halifax Harbor, or even a computer model that can identify whale shapes from aerial images. So if you're a student and you're looking to grow your skills and work on real projects and gain industry experience, then make sure you submit your information to our student pool. Projects, internships, and co-ops pop up throughout the year, so it's useful to throw your name in there because it's the first place that we'll look to find someone to fill a position. And I will share the link to the pool in the chat in just a moment, and make sure that your resume is in tip-top shape because we want you to stand out, since only those who are selected for an interview will be contacted. And in this discovery session, we're going to elucidate fundamental concepts of generative AI tailored for beginners, delving into its operational mechanisms, its profound implications for industry, and its future trajectory. And today we're joined by Dr. Lu Yang, who holds a PhD in computer science from the University of New Brunswick and brings with him a wealth of experience in enterprise-level high-performance computing, administration, and management spanning over 15 years. His expertise extends beyond HPC to encompass cloud computing, particularly in the context of ocean AI, data analytics, and cloud architecting at DeepSense. Prior to his current instructor role at the Faculty of Computer Science at Dalhousie, Dr. Yang served as the Cloud Solutions Architect at DeepSense, Cloud Solutions Engineer at Jewel Labs, and HPC Systems Specialist at AceNet and DeepSense. And if you have any questions throughout the presentation, we'll be taking them at the end, but feel free to drop them in the chat at any point during the presentation. And that is more than enough from me. Let's hear the presentation from Dr. Yang.
Okay, thank you so much, Alyssa. Let me share my screen. Okay, I think everyone should be able to see my screen. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my presentation today, exploring the influence of generative AI on industry trends and implications. I am a full-time instructor of Faculty of Computer Science at Dalhousie, and also I work on a part-time basis as a cloud architect at DeepSense. So my background is most about the high-performance computing and the cloud computing, but in no matter which area you are in right now, the generative AI is taking the center stage, even in the conferences like AWS, GCP, and Azure. In their annual conferences, the generative AI was just under the spotlight. It takes the center stage, and everyone was talking about it. So I think it's the time that we discuss this, and at least we need to learn some basics of Gen AI and know what we should do, what the future looks like. So today's talk is not technical. I'm trying to make it very, like a ChatGPT, human language in and human language out, not computer science languages, but pure human languages. Feel free to ask any questions. So let me make it full screen. So here's the agenda for today's talk. I'm going to highlight the emerging technologies, general technologies, and also the AI, and then the Gen AI trend. We're going to discuss from the bigger picture to a small picture. And I'm going to explain what is Gen AI, where is Gen AI in AI, what happens behind ChatGPT. Although we are discussing the basics of Gen AI, I still want to dig a little bit deeper into what happens behind the ChatGPT that everyone is using. And I want to discuss the generative AI adoption, the use cases of Gen AI. Will Gen AI replace human, and the ethical considerations, and finally the conclusion. First, I want to show you some, just for fun, some weird AI applications. I don't think they are that weird. This is listed on the website, like AI fortune tellers, AI perfumers, AI toothbrush. AI toothbrush is not a stranger to us. And the AI-powered beehives and an AI judge for beauty contests, there would be a lot of arguments about AI that is applied in these applications, like the judges for beauty contests. If we use AI to judge things, it's very arguable, right? So in the future, there could be, even toilet paper with AI, anything with AI. You will see a lot of things with AI in the future. You will see a lot of weird, very weird applications and tools in the future. You should not be surprised. This is just for fun. You can think wildly. AI can be applied to any single product in the future. Okay, so now I want to learn what you think about Gen AI, not AI, the generative AI. Everyone has used ChatGPT, I think. What's the first word comes to your mind when you think of Gen AI? Can you share that with me in the chat? Can you type in what you think about Gen AI? Plagiarism. Okay. Image generation, knowledge. What else? Text data, weird hands. Thank you so much. It's good that no one input something like, innovation. Yeah, innovation is definitely the right word. Resource. Yeah, resource is I'm very surprised that no one typed in like scary, fearful. Industry, yes, industry. Yeah, that's a very general word, but like I said, AI will be applied in any industries in the future. Thank you so much for your input. Full screen. If I want to describe AI right now using one word, it would be revolutionary. So we are at the moment of a before and after. So it's because Gen AI just develops too fast. I'm going to show you some slides to help you understand how fast it is. So sometimes we are surprised when a new thing comes up, like the AI, the first AI software engineer. It just occurred several weeks back. We're going to discuss that later in this presentation. And first, now I want to highlight the emerging technologies and the trend in AI and also the trend in generative AI. So why do we have to discuss this? So when industry leaders consider employing new technologies, they need to avoid adopting too early, giving up too soon, adopting too late, and hanging on too long. So, but how do industry leaders make the decision? How do they think the right time we need to employ the new technologies? Is it too early? Is it too late? Let's look at the some emerging technologies, generally emerging technologies that's presented by Gartner. I like to look at the articles and the reports and these hype cycles from Gartner. It's very insightful. You can see from this hype cycle, there are 5 stages: innovation trigger, peak of inflated expectations, through disillusionment, slope of enlightenment, and plateau of productivity. If you don't understand how to understand this hype cycle, you can just search how to understand Gartner hype cycles. You can get a full page of descriptions how to understand them. But here I want to mention that in the column of a peak of inflated expectations, we can see generative AI and cloud native and AI augmented software engineering are at the peak. So this is the technology that is happening today on the center stage. So that is the thing everyone is discussing about. So the technologies that in the column of innovation trigger are the things that will come up. So we need to also look at these technologies. We need to implement these, learn these, or integrate them into our products in the future. But right now, we need to think about generative AI, cloud native, AI augmented software engineering. So in the future, let's say in 5 years, 5 to 10 years, or even less than 2 years, they will reach the plateau of productivity. So this is a general hype cycle for emerging technologies. Now let's look at in the AI context, not Gen AI. In the AI context, what is at the center stage? It is generative AI. And then we can see foundation models, and we also see model ops. And we also see here that the coming technologies like smart robots, responsible AI. I'm going to explain responsible AI at the end of this presentation. Prompt engineering, I'm also going to explain prompt engineering. So these technologies in AI will be the emerging technologies, and you can see a lot of the technologies in this context are Gen AI, even though we are talking about the general AI technology. So now let's look at in the context of Gen AI, what's the emerging technology? It's foundation models like ChatGPT. The GPT models are foundation models, and it's also a large language models and the synthetic data, AI augmented software engineering. These technologies are the hottest technologies right now. And in the future, you're going to see generative AI enabled applications. So in the future, there will be a lot of applications with Gen AI powered. And so we need to start early to think about this before everyone already finished doing the AI enabled applications. We also need to start to think about how we are going to learn and integrate the Gen AI into our application. Okay, so if you want to look at these, learn how to understand these hype cycles, you can look at this this link over here. I can share my slides with you. So now you know the most emerging technologies generally, and general technologies, AI and the Gen AI technologies. So you have a rough idea what you need to focus on for your future development. So now let's look at what is Gen AI. Generative AI, artificial intelligence, is artificial intelligence capable of generating text, images, or other data using generative models, often in response to prompts. Gen AI models learn the patterns and the structure of their input training data and then generate new data that has similar characteristics. So here I highlight the keywords in red: generating, prompts, and new data. So a very important keyword of Gen AI is that it generates new things, new data here, right? So it generates new things or create new things. This is very different from our previous AI technologies. Previous AI technologies or the general AI technologies do classification, clustering, prediction, but it doesn't generate anything. However, Gen AI can generate text, can generate images. The text and images they didn't exist before. So it's newly generated. So how can Gen AI, those tools generate the new things? They based on the prompt as user, we user input in the input box. We input our prompt and the model will generate the results based on your input. So that's what we said, text in, text out, text in, image out, text in, video out. When we say the response from the models, it's the new stuff. It never existed before. Okay, that's why it's called Gen AI. So it's different from previous general AI. So where is Gen AI in the AI context? AI is a very big context. And in AI, we have machine learning, and then we have deep learning. The major algorithms in deep learning is neural network. And in deep learning, in this category, we have generative AI. Generative AI make use of the neural network to train a large amount of data. Right now, the biggest model is a large language model, ChatGPT. I'm going to explain more about ChatGPT later. It's a huge model trained using neural network and then generate the model. So we as a normal user can use that model. We input the information or the question we want to ask, and the model will generate the result we want. So let me ask you some questions. What's your most familiar Gen AI application? I guess most people would say ChatGPT, right? Actually, there are more and more Gen AI applications right now. You can see in the market, you can see say Map GPT. You can see stock market GPT. A lot of different kind of GPTs are in the market right now. So have you ever used the chatbots before using ChatGPT? I believe you have used those the assistant, on some website for customer services. You can talk to the assistant, virtual assistant before, right? But have you ever thought about what are the differences between the traditional chatbots and the ChatGPT's Gen AI? They are very different. The main difference is that traditional chatbots function using predefined rules and decision trees and provide predetermined responses to specific user inputs. You have to pay attention to the predefined and predetermined. That means it's not generated. So in the contrast, ChatGPT employs Gen AI, enabling it to generate unique responses. When we generate the unique responses, it's a real-time response. It's not like the predetermined responses we already defined before we ask the question. Okay, so and by comprehending context and intent, thereby creating more dynamic and human-like interactions. Okay, what happens behind ChatGPT? I want to give you explain this in an easy way for you to understand, because we don't want to talk about a lot of technical terms, but I can explain some key terminologies. You will see this again and again in the future. Large language model, the LLM, is the model that has been trained using a large amount of data, like ChatGPT. The GPT model trained the data on the whole internet. That's why it's so powerful. That's why when you ask whatever kind of questions from all different kind of domains, you can get a response. And the prompt means how you can input your question. And embedding means that embedding vector and a vector database. I'm going to explain using these pictures. Okay, so now you can see here, it is the GPT, large language model. Okay, this is the large language model. And here we have the our text or the information from the internet or the knowledge base from one organization, like a company. So the text or the knowledge base will be divided into different chunks using different technology, using tokenization technologies and the chunk technologies. We can divide the text into chunks. These chunks will be fed into ChatGPT to generate embeddings, vector embeddings. An embedding of a chunk, a piece of chunk, is just a list of numbers. These numbers doesn't make any sense to you. However, these numbers are represented as vectors. So every piece of information is represented as a different, a unique embedding. So these embeddings, we call them vectors. So in a multidimensional space, we can have a lot of vectors for all the information we input into this language model. So we have so many embeddings for the text we input. So this is called text to embeddings. Okay, so after we get all the embeddings, we have a vector database. It could be just a database you used before. We store all the embeddings into this vector database. Okay, so now what happens? So now your document 1 and document 2 are your knowledge base. We already stored them in the vector space as embeddings. So now you as a normal user, you input your prompt at ChatGPT, and your input will also be translated into embeddings, and your embedding will be compared with the embeddings in the database to calculate the similarities between your embedding and the embeddings in the database to find out which embedding is the most similar to your input. So let's look at the whole process of from your user input to the final result. You get your user input, user prompt input, and using ChatGPT's embedding API, it translates your input into prompt embeddings, and then it compares your embedding with the embeddings in the vector database, and then it finds the relevant documents. Finding relevant documents means it calculates the similarities of your embeddings and the embeddings in the vector database. So now it will get the context of your prompt. So the ChatGPT, as a large language model, it can get the context of all the words and the semantics of all the words. And these context-aware prompt will fed into the language model again before its output at the result. Why? Because large language model will be working on your context-aware prompt to make the response as a human language for you to understand. So this is from the input, how it works from the input to the output, the general workflow of ChatGPT. I hope it's not very hard to understand. Okay, so now let me demo a very simple test chatbot for DeepSense and the computer science I made by myself. It's very simple. I just create a web page. It's on my local host. So you can see we can load our knowledge base here. I just randomly copy paste some information from DeepSense and the computer sciences website, and I made a PDF file. This is our knowledge base. Or we can say, we can compare this as to the all the information on the internet that's trained by ChatGPT. So here is our very small amount of information, which is our knowledge base. Okay, I can just drag and drop the file over here. And then I have my chatbot I created for DS and DeepSense and FCS. You can see I can ask questions, use human language here, how to collaborate with DeepSense. our model will go to this file to fetch the information and then go back to the model and generate a response to us. So now let's try another question. List professors of FCS the housing in bullets. Let's run it. You see, it can generate the list of the professors of computer science using bullets. So there are only 2 professors because I have very little information in this PDF file. I can add a lot more information into that file to make my query get a better result. Okay, this is just a very simple example. How simple is it? Let me show you the code. My code to generate this web page and all the functionalities on the web page is just this long. See, just this long. It's not hard at all. So you may think, oh, using ChatGPT is to make the ChatGPT work for my application is just that simple. It's too simple, right? No, ChatGPT or GPT-enabled technologies can do far more than that. Far more than what I just showed you. It can be integrated into your application. It can customize and train a model for your customized data. So it can be used securely, not like ChatGPT. It's not that secure because it's public, right? You can use a GPT-enabled applications securely just on your own network or even on your just local machine. Okay, this is just a simple demo to show you how simple it is. You can do it by yourself. There are a lot of technologies I'm going to teach in this summer at Dalhousie about GPT-enabled or Gen AI-enabled application development. Okay, so now let's look at the Gen AI adoption in the next few years. So for Gen AI APIs, if I don't understand what API is just application programming interface. So when you want to do something, when you are writing your code, you want to fulfill some functionalities for your business logic, but you don't have enough capacity to develop so many functionalities. So you can call some existing APIs that's developed by other companies. So it saves a lot of time and energy. So these AI companies provide a lot of APIs for you to call them, like the simple chatbot I just showed you. I also called the APIs of OpenAI to use their language model to train my data and generate the result. So by 2026, more than 80% of enterprises will have used Gen AI application programming interface or models or deploy Gen AI enabled applications in production up from less than 5% in 2023. So last year, only 5% of the companies used Gen AI for their applications, but in 3 years, it's going to be 80%. According to my knowledge, when I worked with companies and also my students here at Peer, I see a lot of companies already started their pilot projects or POC projects to get a prototype how it looks like for their application, for their business logic. And the foundation models here, I mean the for example, the large language model of ChatGPT. So these models will underpin 70% of natural language processing use cases, up from less than 5% in 2022. So within 5 years, using the models, the foundation models, it's going to be increased from 5% to 70%. And also in the future, it's already happened actually, the multi-model AI models. So when we use ChatGPT 3, we can only input text and output text. And now we can output images from GPT-4, right? So in the future, a lot of machine learning Gen AI models will be multimodal AI models. That means it can generate text, image, audio, and video. So it's from 1% in 2023 to 60% by 2026. You can see right now the scary thing is not how much it can do. The scary thing is that how fast it develops. So sometimes we often, as a normal people, we often think we cannot catch up with Gen AI or generally AI. We cannot catch up with that. But don't worry, Gen AI has been there less than 10 years. So that means in the whole world, no one can say I have more than 10 years of experience of generative AI. And if you search the learning materials, YouTube videos about generative AI, most of them are less than 1 year. So you don't need to worry. No one else is an expert as well. So if you start learning right now, you won't be left behind. The use cases of Gen AI, let's briefly talk about this. Customer experience personalization. So it can understand customer preferences and create relevant content and product suggestions, and the customer service automation. We can automate various aspects of customer support, such as ticket management, contact centers, document processing, self-service portals, etc. Fraud detection, because large language models can understand our human language so well. So the fraud detection can be, we can use Gen AI to train to understand the documents that we have accumulated before and analyze it, and then use it to analyze the current activities in your account. In the supply chain management, so we can analyze the email documents and the contracts, procurement, etc., to help us manage our supply chain. And the predictive maintenance based on our previous documentations, knowledge base. For example, if a car dealer has a lot of their knowledge base for different problems of the cars, they have different solutions. The problem will have symptoms, right? So if they have very good documentation about this, so they can use their previous knowledge base, use GPT to learn it, and then predict the maintenance of their, not only the predictive maintenance, but also the solution, how to fix the cars. And the business process automation, it can automate the streamlines and automates repetitive tasks and workflows to improve operational efficiency. So one example is that, when you call the person in some call centers, if you call two different people, you may get different answers because the two different agents may understand their policies differently. So like my personal experience was that when I called Air Canada before and also Bell Airlines before for some issues in my account, two agents explained totally differently about their policies. So I didn't know what to do. So in the future, they don't need a person to answer your questions. After you type in your question or you call them, voice to text is so mature right now. So you call them, you tell them what your question is, and then they can just generate the result from your knowledge base. That should be very consistent and accurate. Overall, Gen AI can be the assistant of almost all industries. We'll see this in the future very soon. So whenever we talk about Gen AI, we will come to the question, will Gen AI replace human? So in the near future, actually, Gen AI tools and applications are expected to become as commonplace and user-friendly for non-technical individuals as familiar software like Word and Outlook are today. So in the future, AI will be a very common tool for common people. So it's not like right now we think AI is a high tech. It's so hard. We don't know how to use it, right? In the future, it's going to be a tool, just like Word or Outlook you are using today. But in the future, humans with AI will replace humans without AI. Businesses with AI will replace business without AI. I don't know if you know the most recent shocking news about Gen AI for software engineers. I guess if you are a developer, you may have heard the Devin. Okay, Devin is not open to the public yet, but according to their blog, Devin can generate the code after you give a description of the project. Devin can generate the code, can debug the code by itself, can choose the best model, can fine-tune the model, tune the parameters of the model, and then present the final result or final product. Okay, so it looks like it can replace developers entirely. I highly suspect that it can entirely replace a developer, but you can see the trend. It will replace developers at some point. We just don't know how fast that is. It could be next year, could be next 5 years. We don't know. We'll see after Devin is released to the public. We'll see how good it behaves. So now, what are you thinking? You might be scared, right? You might think about how should we survive? What should we do to survive? My suggestions to people are for different roles, like pure developers. If you are a pure developer, I would recommend you need to upscale your knowledge and your technologies. You need to look at some solution architecting skills, system design skills, cloud native skills, critical thinking skills. You need to gain more domain knowledge of the business you're working in. And you also need to improve your soft skills. You cannot be a pure developer just writing code. That's very dangerous because of the, like Devin. I think Devin will replace. Right now, we only have Devin, but in the next few months, I believe there will be a lot of Devin-like tools on the market. For students, you need to learn Gen AI, and you need to learn cloud. In my cloud courses in this summer, I'm going to include Gen AI in the cloud course. You need to learn system design to design a system from the high level, not just writing the code. You need to enhance your Python knowledge because Python is the #1 programming language for AI-related projects. You also need to learn Kubernetes. Why you need to learn Kubernetes? Kubernetes is the best platform to develop Gen AI applications. When those big companies train a large amount of data to get their large language model, they spend millions of dollars for the computation. Like OpenAI, when they train the models to get the ChatGPT-4, they use the Azure. They don't use their local machine. They use the Azure to do the model training. A model training could be, say, from half a month to a very long time, depending on how much data you're going to train. It could be very long. It could be relatively shorter. In the future, the models won't be all that big like ChatGPT. We are going to have a lot of specialized GPT or models for different industries. Say for finance, for bank, we may have bank GPT. For for ocean industry, we may have ocean mapping GPT. So we'll have relatively smaller models for different industries in the future. There will be many. And the students will try to look for their co-op opportunities to practice what they learned. Of course, soft skills is also very important. For industry leaders, I think you need to review the technology stack. So think about review what you are using and think about what you will be using in the future. And ChatGPT, even though you want to improve or modernize your current technology stack, say your applications, your code, if your code is outdated, you can still use ChatGPT to improve your code. You may not know this. You can use ChatGPT to modernize your application. And you need to prepare your knowledge base. So if you want to use large language model to generate like the assistant for your business, you need to have your own knowledge base. And you need to evaluate your short-term objectives and long-term objectives. You need to train your employees on Gen AI and also cloud. And you also need to think about, you need to start some Gen AI pilot projects. For non-technical people, I think you need to closely watch and observe what's happening on the market. So what tools are out for non-tech people? For example, if you are project manager, there could be something like project management GPT coming up soon. If you're from different industries, different roles in an organization, and you are a non-technical people, you should always keep your eye on these kind of tools. In the future, you're going to learn how to use these tools. You are not developing them, right? You're going to use them to use your human language to interact and to increase the efficiency, how you do your work, like you do your project management. And you need to learn something. It's not, I believe it's not a hard task for non-tech people to learn these GPT-enabled or Gen AI-enabled tools. It's just like a Word or Excel you learned before. Okay, so there are also ethical considerations. So like Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI said, if this technology goes wrong, it can go quite wrong. So right now, the problems is that Gen AI can have bias and discrimination. Say, if a model trains the resumes, a large amount of resumes. However, most of the resumes are from male, not from female. The model could have bias on male or female. Okay, and also privacy concerns. When you ask questions in a public GPT, you may expose some secret information about your organization or your personal information, and the legal consequences. So we cannot use the GPT for right now. GPT can generate some like fake cases of legal cases, so we cannot trust it 100%. So when there are problems, the results are not accurate or even fake, we lose the trust of Gen AI. So these are the stuff we have to think about, we have to manage, and the government should be involved to make regulations and policies and even laws to restrict the use of Gen AI. At some point, I believe at some point, government will get involved. So responsible AI means we need to unleash the power of AI with our ethical and moral framework, paving the way for a future aligned with human values and societal norms. So today, what do we learn? Let's conclude what we learned today. We learned something about the basics of Gen AI, and we dig a little bit deeper about how ChatGPT works. And we also explain the trend of AI and the Gen AI technologies, and also Gen AI use cases, and Gen AI and human, and also ethical considerations. So at DeepSense, DeepSense is an organization supporting ocean industries for AI projects, data readiness projects, and cloud readiness projects. You can contact this email to get help. We can always get our co-op students from Dalhousie or other universities to help you on your projects. But don't worry if you are not from the ocean industry. So I am teaching cloud courses at computer science, and I'm also include the Gen AI into my course. So if you have you need help on cloud migration, data ingestion, analytics, and visualization, AutoML, MLOps, and Gen AI, cloud engineering, cloud development, and cloud architecting, you can contact me. We have a lot of excellent students. I think that's all for today's talk. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Dr. Yang. It looks like we've already got a question in the chat from Nilesh. How would the Gen AI applications affect the banking systems and the payment systems? I guess that would be a revolution in itself.
Yeah. For for every single industry, when we talk about the revolution, we need to look at the data, because Gen AI works on data. So what data you have in their system, their model will be using that data to generate a response for you. Say, for example, your investment in a bank, you buy some mutual funds or something, right? So using Gen AI, the bank has, say, the past 50 years of history of the performance of their fund. So they can give you personalized response how you should invest your money, how the market behaved previously using their history information. So, and when they present this response to you, not like before, they just present it to you as human language, and it's accurate and easy to understand. It's not like it before, and this will also remove a lot of human work, because we previously have advisors, right? We need to go to the bank or talk to the advisors online to get the investment suggestions. But now, I think due to generative AI, we can just submit a request by human language, and then we get a pretty complete documentation explaining what you should do.
Awesome, thank you. I don't see any more in the chat, but I've got a question that's maybe a silly question. But what does GPT stand for in the chat GPT?
Yeah, GPT stands for generative pre-trained transformer.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. Transformer actually means the large language model, means the machine learning models.
Okay, that definitely helps out. Thank you. And I was wondering if you think that generative AI has been responsibly released so far, kind of like in the past 10 years as it's getting more popular. Do you think that all these new large language models and like, has it been responsibly released and responsibly handled so far?
Oh yeah, there are already very many language models on the market. In the software development industry, we have the code repo, so repository. We push our code into a repository. So right now there is model repository. There are millions of models, and a lot of them are open source. You can use them. You can call the API of those models for your applications. So it's like the open source APIs in any other industries. So in the future, there will be more and more this kind of models. That's why we also have that model op. Previously, we have dev op, and then we have machine learning ML op, and now we have model op. So the management of the models will be standardized. And in the future, when these models are out of control, I believe there will be regulations, policies to be made to regulate the models.
Okay, thank you. And we've got a question from Recruit Next. How will the rise of generative AI influence the future of cloud native applications and services?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Prakut. I think for cloud in the future, there will also a lot of automation due to generative AI. So for like cloud architecting solutions, you ask a question. So your request is you have an application already developed, what's your concerns, and how you are going to deploy that application onto the cloud, and say considering the security cost, etc. It is going to generate a full solution for you, and also even in the future it could implement that solution for you, because after the solution is generated, it can generate the infrastructure as code, generate a script. Using that script, it can just provision all the resources you need for your project. So I think that it's like the for developers, it's going to remove some cloud architects as I think.
Interesting, thank you. And then we've got one last question from Burhanadin. He says, Gen AI needs lots of data covering different bases of information, and different applications require different kinds of data. Is this kind of data available to use? And what are your thoughts about the lack of data or lack of accessibility of data, and how can we solve that?
That's a perfect question. There are a lot of open source data you can use. If you go to Hugging Face, Hugging Face is a model repository. They offer a lot of data sets. You can use them. However, if you don't have a large amount of data to train your model, but you have your own data, so you can see there are so many different models. The models for mapping, the models for finance. So you should find the model that's the most useful to you, and then you use your data to fine tune that model to make that model customized for your use case.
Awesome. And I think with that, we will wrap up. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to join us, Dr. Yang. I've dropped some links in the chat for our student pool and our mentorship program, STEM Connector, which is a flash mentorship program. And if you're interested in connecting with folks working in the ocean sector or in any STEM field, sign up today. It's all free. It's a flash mentorship program, so you can connect with lots of different mentors, and the meetings can be done virtually or in person. And if you enjoyed today's discovery session, we have plenty of other discovery sessions available on our YouTube channel. So I dropped the link for that as well in the chat, as well as all of the DeepSense social medias. And keep an eye out for our next discovery session. Our next one will be happening May 7th. So it's quite a bit of ways away, but we will definitely be posting on social media as soon as the registration goes out. And Dr. Yang, do you have any final words before we wrap up?
No, just I welcome everyone to discuss whatever questions you want to discuss, and if you want to talk to DeepSense for any potential projects, just feel free to reach out.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks to everyone for joining us today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you at our next discovery session.